Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing checking back in with y'all, man. What's happening? Hope y'all doing well on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Man, look, I got a theory. And don't hit me in the head, man. Don't shoot me down for this. This is just my theory. And I think it's a damn good one. I believe that Errol the True Spence Jr. and Terence Bud Crawford will fight in their next fights. After Terence Crawford gets past Kell Brook, if he does get past Kell Brook, after Errol Spence Jr. gets past Danny Garcia, if he does get past Danny Garcia, if both these guys win their next respective matchups, I see this fight happening next. And I'm going to tell you why. I see this fight happening summertime of 2021. You know, somewhere between May and July. Big fight. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful setup for this fight. Juneteenth, you know, shout out to Black Fight Fan TV and 78. They've been talking about this for the longest. Juneteenth will be dope. We'll see how it all plays out. But let me break down my theory on why I think this fight is going to happen next. Now, looking at the WBO rankings, which, you know, of course, everybody want to see Terence Crawford and Errol Spence fight just off of the strength, just off of the skill level and the notoriety and the pedigree of both fighters, you know, everything that they done, all the work that they done put in the game, you know what I'm saying? Aside from all the accomplishments and stuff like that, just off of the fact that people believe that Errol Spence is the best and people believe that Terence Crawford is the best. There's a general consensus that Errol Spence and Terence Crawford are the two most skilled, most complete, the best fighters in the division. So people want to see the fight off of the strength of that. Then you look at you know, when they met up in Oklahoma, you know, backstage, man, that was such, you know, fire and such passion. And, you know, you can see that those two guys are men. You know what I'm saying? They are men amongst men. You dig what I'm saying? And people can sense the dog in both fighters. People can sense the heart and the passion in both guys. And we know that they both really about that shit. We know both guys really welcome a fight of that magnitude and of that caliber. And they both true competitors and want to prove themselves. So people want to see the fight just off of that. But one of the main things that one of the biggest leverages that Terence Crawford has in a fight like that, you know, aside from the fact that everybody want to see it, is the WBO belt. He has a title. Now, Errol Spence Jr. wants to be undisputed. Terence Crawford says he wants to be undisputed at welterweight. He's already been undisputed at 140 pounds. And he has a WBO belt. That's like the biggest leverage that he has in that fight. The fact that Errol Spence wants that belt and he want to be undisputed. And looking at the WBO rankings, you got Sean Porter ranked number 1. Then you got Virgil Ortiz ranked number 2. Now, one of the biggest, I won't say excuses, but one of the biggest passes that Terence Crawford been getting for fighting these mandatories or fighting these lower class guys that, you know, people really, that we already know he gonna win the fight. People really, you know, are not interested in his matchups and his level of competition since he been at welterweight. One of the main reasons why he's been getting a pass is, well, they say, well, he's fighting mandatories, right? Well, Sean Porter, mandatory. Virgil Ortiz is number 2, right? So this fight that he's about to have against Kell Brook, this is a voluntary title defense. Now, this ain't no gimme. I think this is a 50-50 fight. Even with Kell Brook not having, even the fact that we don't know who Kell Brook's trainer is, I still think this is a 50-50 fight, very dangerous for Crawford. I believe that Terence Crawford is the favorite, as he should be. But I think this is a dangerous fight, and it ain't no gimme, you know. But this is a voluntary title defense, and a win versus Kell Brook, I think it does great things for Crawford. I think It gives him a very, very credible opponent. It gives him a common opponent with Errol Spence. It gives him a win over an elite fighter. I still believe Kell Brook is an elite fighter, and I believe that this fight right here kind of shows people where Terence Crawford is amongst the other top welterweights. Like, what can he really do against these caliber of guys in this division? So this is a voluntary title defense. But let's say he gets past Kell Brook, and let's say Errol Spence gets past Danny Garcia. Errol Spence want to fight Manny Pacquiao. He really want that fight just like everybody else. They want the legacy. They want the payday. They want everything that come with fighting Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao not fighting Errol Spence or Terence Crawford. So throw that out the window, Errol Spence. I know you want the fight, but it ain't happening. Just forget about it, bro. I know you're not going to quit saying this name because you want that fight. And I understand. That fight not happening, bro. Forget about it. Manny Pacquiao is not fighting either one of y'all, bro. Forget about it. It's not happening. So that leaves Errol Spence with next saying like, all right, shit, I can't get Manny Pacquiao. The next biggest fight I can make, though, I mean, you're not going to be at 147 that long. You're going to go to 154 soon. The next most meaningful fight that you can make is Terence Crawford. You look at Terence Crawford, you think, well, after I get past this voluntary title defense versus Kell Brook, should I take a risk to fight a mandatory in Sean Porter, which is also a dangerous fighter? Or if Sean Porter go do something else and Virgil Ortiz steps up as the #1 contender, would I take a risk fighting a young lion, a young, energetic, vibrant, explosive, dangerous, high risk, low reward fighter in Virgil Ortiz? Or should I take those risks and put that in the pot and go ahead and fight Errol Spence Jr.? Should I take 40%, take the 60-40 deal and go ahead and fight Errol Spence Jr.? Because at that point, either he going to have to fight one of those mandatories, which is a big risk of him losing, or he going to have to go ahead and fight Errol Spence, or he going to have to drop the WBO belt. I don't think he going to vacate his title and duck Sean Porter or Virgil Ortiz. I think he will choose to take the risk and fight Errol Spence Jr. and take that 60-40 split. I think at that point, they going to have to bow down and say, look, we might as well go ahead and take whatever. Because what's our other options? What is the alternative? We fight Sean Porter and risk losing? We fight Virgil Ortiz and risk losing? You know what I'm saying? What's the other options? I think he going to choose to hold on to that title and unify with Errol Spence as opposed to fighting a mandatory or dropping a belt. With Errol Spence Jr., he really ain't going to have... I mean, he can fight Keith Thurman. He can fight... Yordenis Ugas. Now, if they elevate Yordenis Ugas to the full-time WBA champion, that's a good unification. But I think this is how I think the shit gonna play out. I think Earl gonna end up, I think, like I said, Bud and Earl gonna end up fighting next. That's what I truly believe. I just got a good feeling about this. You know what I'm saying? The way things are shaking up. I think they gonna fight next. And I think in order for the Undisputed to happen, that's gonna happen with Yordenis Ugas if he can hold on to that belt, because I think he gonna get elevated to the full-time WBA belt. I think they gonna strip Manny Pacquiao because of inactivity. Plus, he gonna end up fighting Conor McGregor. They not gonna sanction that fight. He gonna get stripped. You know what I'm saying? So Yordenis Ugas at that point will be the actual WBA champion, and I think for Undisputed, it's going to be a 3-belt holder versus the WBA champion. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it'll be Earl versus Yordenis Ugas and then Crawford, because at that point, it's like, I feel like Team Crawford going to come to the table saying like, look, bro, hey, we got to make this fight now. Whatever deal y'all got, I'll take it, because I'm not going to fight Sean Porter or Virgil Ortiz and risk losing, and then now I can't get the big payday versus Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? I think they gonna come to the table and say, like, nah, bro, whatever the split is, 60-40, whatever it is, bro, let me get that. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get this shit over with. Let me get that. And then Errol Spence, he gonna realize, like, bro, I'm not gonna get the Manny Pacquiao fight. This is the net. I'm coming off of a big pay-per-view performance versus Danny Garcia. I told y'all, I think this Danny Garcia and Spence fight is gonna be Spence's biggest pay-per-view. His first fight back since the accident. Everybody want to see what he looked like. Danny Garcia is a very credible opponent with a big fan base. People gonna tune into this fight. This fight gonna do more numbers than Mikey Garcia and Sean Porter. I think this fight does upwards of 500,000 pay-per-view buys. Now, this is going to be his biggest pay-per-view performance. Numbers-wise, he going to say, look, dog, at that point, it's like, do I fight Yordenis Ugas? I know I'm not going to get the Manny Pacquiao fight, or do I go ahead and make this Terence Crawford fight? I think them boys on a collision course right now to have this fight next. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Like, am I missing something? Am I thinking too deep into this? Do y'all see this shit happening another way? Y'all let me know, man. Contender regime, boxing. I holla at y'all boys, man.